This afternoon, a high-speed ferry boat will dock right here in the city of Milwaukee.
That's right. The Lake Express will start taking people and cars on daily runs between Milwaukee and Muskegon, Michigan, starting in June. Meantime, work continues on the ferry's new terminal on South Lincoln Memorial Drive. We'll have more about the ferry in an interview from the boat coming up in Biz View in our next half hour. Well, Dan.
Welcome back. In just over 3 hours, Milwaukee's new high-speed ferry floats into town. The Lake Express will begin round trips from Milwaukee to Muskegon, Michigan this summer. Its 7,200 square foot terminal will be located on South Lincoln Memorial Drive and include a coffee shop, gift shop, and information center. And spokesperson for Lake Express, Jeff Flinning, joins us in the studio this morning. And Lake Express President David Lubart joins us via phone because he is right now on the Lake Express headed from Sturgeon Bay to Milwaukee. David, are you with us yet?
I am. I'm right on board.
Well, how is the trip so far?
It's fantastic. We just left Sturgeon Bay 5 minutes ago. We're leaving the channel, heading into Lake Michigan. The boat is smooth, quiet, and luxurious.
Now, based on your ride, what kind of reception do you think you'll get from Wisconsin residents once they get a chance to get on board?
I think they will be mightily impressed when they see this vessel. It is outfitted to the T's. It is all first class. It is brand new. It's the most technologically advanced fast ferry in America.
Now, I imagine you guys are having some fun while you're on there, too, today, huh?
We are. We're enjoying every minute of it.
Well, I'm going to take a break right now and talk to Jeff for a minute. What can people do with this ferry, Jeff?
Well, Vivian, this is the fun, fast, and luxurious way to get between southeastern Wisconsin and western Michigan. It's the new connection that's going to bring people closer together by making this ferry bridge across Lake Michigan.
And, I mean, tell me about what happens today. It's coming in today, but the trips don't start till June 1st, right?
Right. The ship will come in. It'll do a quick tour of the harbor, the inner harbor in Milwaukee, and then head to the heavy lift dock where the Port of Milwaukee ordinarily is removing containers. Instead, we'll have a chance to look close up at the Lake Express for the first time here in Milwaukee.
And you said this is really a momentous occasion because you really kind of jumped the gun on some other ferries
Well,
that are...
It's been decades since there's been a ferry operating regularly out of Milwaukee, but this is also the first high-speed auto passenger ferry to begin service on the Great Lakes. This is a new kind of service, the new speed that's being offered in transportation, and I think people will really catch on. In the future, this will be the way to travel.
David, are you still with us?
I am.
And how soon? You guys are on schedule. You're supposed to get here at 3 o'clock today?
That's right.
And everything's looking smooth, huh?
Everything is looking smooth. Everything is feeling smooth. We're going close to 40 miles an hour, and it feels like glass right now.
Well, David, thank you so much. We appreciate you, and we will see you when you get to Milwaukee. And Jeff, thank you so much as well.
My pleasure.
Now, adult fares on the Lake Express are $42.50 each way. Seniors get a discount. For more information and reservations, call toll-free at 1-866-914-1010. Well, we know the 2004...
Today on First Floor News, new modern maritime transportation comes to Milwaukee. Good afternoon, everyone. The trip from Mobile, Alabama to Milwaukee is over for the Lake Express ferry.
Just a few minutes ago, the high-speed ferry is about to reach the Milwaukee lakefront. It is right now in the Milwaukee River. Chopper 4 Power Zoom is flying overhead, bringing us a live look from the lakefront, where you see the ferry is on its way, about to dock at the Port of Milwaukee. Now, that is on the western side of Jones Island. As it makes its way, of course, it is a beautiful sight, and starting in June, people will be able to cross Lake Michigan on this ferry. Our Russ Kirkpatrick joins us live now with new details on the big day of the ferry's arrival. Russ.
Well, Carol, the Lake Express arrived here in Milwaukee just a few minutes ago. Take a look over my shoulder here. You can actually see the Lake Express coming in here to where we're at. We're on the Port of Milwaukee western side, the heavy lift dock, as it's known. Take a look at how absolutely huge this thing is. I'm not sure if you can capture it through the picture. Carries 250 passengers, 46 cars. You mentioned there, it was manufactured in Mobile, Alabama. It's a catamaran made of aluminum, 148 tons. Now you can get across Lake Michigan from here in Milwaukee to Muskegon, Michigan in about 2.5 hours. It'll be taking 3 trips a day in the summer, 2 in the fall and winter. As far as costs go, about $85 or so. round trip for adults, $118 for cars, round trip as well. Once again, taking a live look there at the Lake Express pulling here into the Port of Milwaukee heavy lift dock. The service again begins on June 1st. A few people were fortunate enough to be on this maiden voyage coming in from northern Wisconsin earlier today. That's the latest from the Port of Milwaukee. We'll have much more coming up later this afternoon. Mike, Carol?
Russ, they were supposed to be there, what, about 3 o'clock today? Running about an hour behind?
Running just slightly behind. I can tell you this, Mike, that it came off of the lake and buzzed around in the harbor a little bit. I'm almost wondering if there's a little more show and tell there than anything else.
Oh, sure. Trying to create some interest in a business proposition is what it is. All right, Russ, thanks very much. Here's more information about the Lake Express Ferry. It's an aluminum catamaran that carries 250 passengers and 46 cars on each trip. Adult fares are $42.50 each way based on a round-trip purchase. Automobiles are carried for $59 each way. Motorcycles for $30 each way.
Well, the rain may have stopped, but the metro...
Once again, a live picture from Milwaukee's lakefront area as the Lake Express Ferry is docking at the Port of Milwaukee heavy lift dock. That's on the western side of Jones Island. The Lake Express Ferry going to carry folks from Milwaukee to Muskegon, Michigan. Beautiful new vessel that just arrived this afternoon about 4 o'clock. Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett.
And the wait is finally over. The high-speed ferry is just about here. There it is right now. We're going to talk live with a member of the crew. That's up next.
Chapter 4 with Power Zoom is over the Milwaukee Harbor today. The new Lake Express Ferry has made its way into port. The long journey from Mobile, Alabama came to an end today, and what a spectacular sight it has been. Starting next month, the Lake Express will offer high-speed service between Milwaukee and Muskegon, Michigan.
It will carry people as well as cars and motorcycles across the lake. Now, many people are excited about this new transportation option in our area. We're pleased to have with us live today David Lubar. He's the president of the Lake Express. David, thanks for joining us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
What an exciting day. Have you had a chance to kind of gauge what the response is going to be to advanced ticket sales, interest in the Lake Express?
Advanced ticket sales have been very strong. We're very pleased with the response by consumer travelers, motorcyclists, and bicyclists. So based on coming down from Sturgeon Bay today, it was fast, it was luxurious, it was smooth, it was fun. We think all the people in southeastern Wisconsin and West Michigan are just going to love Lake Express. We want them all to take the lake.
And David, tell us a little bit about the ferry itself.
The ferry is 191 feet long, carries 46 cars, 250 passengers. There's first-class seating throughout, divided into 2 passenger cabins, a main cabin of 200, and then a business class cabin of 50. There is food service available, and I think everyone will just be wowed by the sight of it on the inside.
Plenty to do there on the inside. Give us an idea how much it's going to cost and how long will it take passengers to get to the other side?
It's 2.5 hours dock to dock. We'll be traveling 3 round trips per day beginning June 1st. So June 1st is the maiden voyage. The cost is $50 one way, $42 each way round trip for an adult, approximately half price for a child.
Well, it looks like a very nice ferry, and welcome to the Lake Express in Milwaukee as of today. David Lubar, thanks a lot for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.
Best of luck, David. Thank you.
I would guess a lot of people who don't even really need to go to Michigan are going to take the ride
looks nice.
across just for the experience.
First class
so,
seating.
yeah.
I mean, come on. It looks like a pretty smooth ride there.
Yeah.
Time now to get your call.
The newest addition to Milwaukee's lakefront arrived this afternoon. The Lake Express Ferry cruised along the lakefront. The high-speed catamaran will ferry people and cars from Milwaukee to Muskegon, Michigan, beginning in a couple of weeks. Our Russ Kirkpatrick joins us live now from 1225 North Car Ferry Drive, where the Lake Express is temporarily docked. Russ?
Well, Mike, it's a new way to cross Lake Michigan, and the people at Lake Express are hoping for big business. Arriving in Milwaukee for the first time, the new Lake Express is ready for business.
This is an extension of the highway. There's about 8 million person trips between the two regions, West Michigan and Southeast Wisconsin every year, and so we're looking for a small piece of that market.
It will cross the lake 3 times a day in the summer in just 2.5 hours, and it can pack in 250 people and 46 cars. Those who've been on it have nothing but good things to say about the ride.
It exceeded my expectations. I mean, it was extremely smooth, quiet. I've been on a vessel several times, but just at the shipyard. But being out at sea on board was really a thrill.
Now, Mike, operations get underway for Lake Express June 1st. Its permanent docking area is going to be just across from the Port of Milwaukee offices, 2300 South Lincoln Memorial Drive. Reporting live in Milwaukee, Russ Kirkpatrick. Today's TMJ4, Mike.
Yeah, I've heard tourism officials here, Russ, say they're very anxious to have this get underway because they think a lot of folks will come over from Michigan to see the art museum or go to a Brewers game or whatever. Spend the weekend, go to Summerfest.
Any number of other things, lots of people, thousands of people, and hopefully millions of dollars, tourism dollars.
All right, Russ Kirkpatrick joining us live. The actor who made Felix Unger famous
on the 6 o'clock report with Mike Jacobs and Carol Meekins.
Welcome back. Milwaukee's new high-speed ferry is finally here.
The Lake Express arrived at its new terminal this afternoon. That's where our Russ Kirkpatrick is live with more on the new ferry service. Russ?
Well, Mike, we're here on the bridge of the Lake Express. This is where it all happens, all kinds of controls here. You've got the throttles and all kinds of monitoring. You've got a map here of Lake Michigan, of course, Wisconsin over here, Michigan over here. When the radar's turned over, you've got the radar here, and this is a monitor of what's going on the ship. Now, this Lake Express is brand new. It's a quick way to get from here to Michigan.
148 tons. This huge vessel can ferry 250 people on the second level. There's a VIP section and high-definition TV monitors throughout. A galley for food and drinks. On the deck, no seating but plenty of room. And down below, room for 46 cars. The captain who brought her in says people are going to love the ride.
This boat handles just immaculately. She rides very smoothly, no matter what seas we put her in. She was able to handle them. She goes very fast, handles very nicely. The vessel is just a terrific boat to operate and run. It's a lot of fun, not just nice to work on, but it's actually a lot of fun to handle.
And back out here live, some numbers here. It takes about 2.5 hours or so for this ship to get from Milwaukee over to Muskegon, Michigan. As far as the costs, going to run an adult about $85 round trip for their car, their passenger car, about $118. Reporting live aboard the Lake Express, Russ Kirkpatrick. Today's TMJ4.
You're going to take her out for a spin, Captain Kirkpatrick?
Just take it around. I'll be right back.
Okay. Thanks, Russ.
Be safe. Thank you, Russ. Well, the rain is gone for now. Ferry service from Milwaukee to western Michigan is here. The Lake Express made its first stop at its home port of Milwaukee this afternoon. Starting June 1st, it will make 3 daily round trips across Lake Michigan carrying cars and passengers. Charles Benson has new information about what the boat promises and how convenient it might be.
The Lake Express sees Lake Michigan as the superhighway for tourists and travelers in a hurry to get to and from Wisconsin and Michigan.
It's saving time and hassle sitting in Chicago traffic, and we think people find it to be worthwhile.
But will travelers find it worth the $85 round trip for adults and another $118 round trip for a car? That compares to $78 for an adult on the SSS Badger Ferry in Manitowoc and $98 for a car. But that ride across Lake Michigan will take 4 hours versus 2.5 on the Lake Express.
She goes very fast, handles very nicely. The vessel is just a terrific boat to operate.
The Lake Express can carry 46 cars and up to 250 passengers. Top speed for the catamaran-style boat is 40 miles per hour.
It was extremely smooth, quiet. I've been on a vessel several times, but just at the shipyard. But being out at sea on board was really a thrill.
And tonight, the Lake Express, an $18 million boat, sits tethered to this dock, but the city of Milwaukee is hoping it will be financially tethered as well when it comes to tourism dollars. Live at the Port of Milwaukee, Charles Benson, today's TMJ4.
Well, it is generating a lot of excitement. Charles, thank you very much.
Well, in just a few hours, Milwaukee's new high-speed ferry will arrive on the city's lakefront.
The Lake Express is expected to dock at the Port of Milwaukee about 3 o'clock this afternoon. Joining us now live on the phone is Ken Zolli, Director of the Port of Milwaukee. Welcome to the News at Noon. I bet this is a big day for you.
This is a very big day for all of us, I think, in Milwaukee, and I'm quite pleased to be bombing along, going south on Lake Michigan at over 40 miles an hour, even as we speak.
You're on the boat right now?
I'm actually on the ship right now talking to you.
Oh, that's very cool.
How big a deal is this for Milwaukee? What does it mean economically?
Economically, it's a very big deal. The operation of the Lake Express between Milwaukee and Muskegon, Michigan will mean an economic impact for the city of Milwaukee and its surrounding communities of between $25 and $30 million a year. The Lake Express will be opening up our region to a whole new tourism market. Those folks coming over from Michigan who want to spend their hard-earned dollars enjoying everything we in Milwaukee take for granted.
Now, it's going to be going back and forth from Muskegon to Milwaukee. How many times a day and at what cost?
The ship will make 3 round trips per day. It will sail from Milwaukee at 6:30 in the morning, 12:30 in the afternoon, and 6:30 again at night. The fare is $85 round trip for an adult, $40 round trip for a child, and $59 each way for an automobile. So it's a great value, and we're really happy to be able to bring this ship to the city of Milwaukee and to the residents of Wisconsin.
Ken, have a lot of people been inquiring about this service?
Yes, actually, the Lake Express reservation system is up and operating, and the response so far has been tremendous. And while you can walk up and buy a ticket and just get on the ship, we do recommend reservations.
Right. Ken Zolli, he's Director of the Port of Milwaukee. Thanks much for talking with us. Enjoy the ride.
Thank you. We'll see you at 3 o'clock.
All right, Ken, thanks. Noon.
Thanks. There's something else floating on Lake Michigan these days, but this time it's good news, at least if you absolutely cannot stand Chicago traffic. The Lake Express docked at Port of Milwaukee this afternoon. Joe LaBarbera is above the passenger ferry. He's up in Sky Fox 6. Joe?
Ted, it was really interesting watching this come in this afternoon. In fact, we shot some videotape, Pilot Todd and I, kind of swirling around this ship, and as it was coming into the harbor, we could take a live look. Look at that from earlier this afternoon, rather, and you can see the Hone Bridge, and there it is, the Lake Ferry. That's the front. I guess that hatch in front must be where you drive the cars through when the thing comes to the dock. There it is with the Calatrava. You can see it toward the top right of your screen. And they had these boats that were like spraying water and almost like it was a little one-person parade. Here it is again from the lakeside looking toward the Marcus Amphitheater and Meyer Festival Park, and the Summerfest grounds as a backdrop. And it just was a great sight to see this coming into the harbor and then eventually ending up docking as it worked its way into our city. In fact, if we could take a live look outside, I can show you. It went from over here in the harbor. There we go. Now we're live. It went over from the harbor, and here it is right here. Let's take a close look at the Lake Ferry. I guess it came down from Sturgeon Bay, and here it is, the Lake Express. A few people out on top of it. But there's a good look at it from, what do they say, from stem to stern or from bow to stern? That's what it looks like sitting there on shore. And somebody who's got a really good look at it from the ground is our own Chris Goodman. Good afternoon, Chris. How are things shaping up on the ground?
You know, Joe, from your vantage point up there, it's kind of hard to get an idea just how massive this thing is. Take a look at this. Lake Express, here it is. Holds 250 passengers, 46 cars, and it's going to start high-speeding you from Milwaukee to Muskegon, Michigan on June 1st. I mean, if you've ever driven to Muskegon, you know it's not very close. It takes about 5 hours. You got to go through Chicago. Got to go around Lake Michigan. It's about 286 miles. If you go on Lake Michigan, it's 80 miles, and it's about 2.5 hours on Lake Express. But, of course, it's going to cost you a little money. It's about $85 round trip for one adult. If you take your car, that's an extra $118. And I'm here with David Lubar, the president of Lake Express. Welcome, first of all.
Thank you very much.
What is the market in Milwaukee for the Lake Express?
Well, ferries have been operating on the Great Lakes for over 100 years, but it's been 31 years since one operated here in Milwaukee. This is the newest, the fastest, the smoothest, the most luxurious ferry in America. And it's right here in Milwaukee, going from southeastern Wisconsin to West Michigan. It's fantastic. The market is huge.
And about several million people, I understand, go from Milwaukee or from Muskegon over here every year. Is that right?
There are millions of people that travel from the east to the west to the east. We're looking to capture a small percentage of that market that don't want to drive through Chicago, don't want to get stuck for hours at a time, don't want the stress, don't want the wear and tear.
All right, David Lubar, president of Lake Express again. The high-speed service starts on June 1st, and you want to see what this baby looks like inside, we're going to take you in a little bit later. Reporting live at the Port of Milwaukee, Chris Goodman, Fox 6 News.
Chris and Joe, thanks. Again, service for the ferry doesn't actually start until June 1st. For more information, 1-866-914-1010.
Tonight,
started testing lake water in 5 locations.
Need to get from Milwaukee to Muskegon, Michigan fast? Take the lake. We're getting our first look inside the Lake Express ferry tonight. The ferry arrived at the Port of Milwaukee this afternoon. It will travel from Milwaukee to Muskegon in 2.5 hours. The Lake Express holds 250 passengers and 46 cars. People got a look inside the ferry today.
I think it's amazing. It's a great ship. Actually, I saw her come in, and I was excited. And we had, of course, find where she docked. And we came in, and I think it's a great project. I truly do. I was stationed on Mackinac for 2.5 years, and commuting back and forth took at least 7.5 hours. So the time, you're saving, of course, and of course, time is money. So people who want to get over there quicker, this is a great idea.
Service begins June 1st. It will make 3 round trips a day, and it'll cost you about $80 round trip. And you'll see if people think it's worth it, like that guy, tonight at the Fox 6 News at 9.
Comfortable seat.
And it'll get you across Lake Michigan in half the time it would take you to drive there. But that convenience, which arrived in Milwaukee today in the form of a new high-speed ferry, comes with a price. Fox 6's Chris Goodman is at the Port of Milwaukee with that story, new at 9.
It's 191 feet long.
A big pontoon, it looks like.
Seats 250 passengers and holds 46 cars.
It's huge. I've never been this close to one of these before.
The Lake Express promises to get you from Milwaukee to Muskegon, Michigan in about half the time it takes you to drive.
It's only 2.5 hours to get across. And how long would it take to drive down to Chicago and around? It's a lot longer.
No doubt. Say you were to pack up the family and drive through Chicago and around Lake Michigan, it would take twice as long, about 5 hours, and that's if traffic is moving in Chicago.
The pricing is substantially less than airfare. The pricing is competitive with other ferries around the country.
So how much does it cost? Family of 4, 2 adults, 2 kids, there and back with your car? $368. Is it worth it?
It seems a little pricey, but with the gas, I used to drive to Michigan, and with the gas prices driving now and the time you save, I think it's worth it.
The pricing seems to be a little bit high, but at the same time, I think as demand comes along for it, they might adjust pricing accordingly.
The time, you're saving, of course, and of course, time is money. So people who want to get over there quicker, this is a great idea.
And say you want to forget about the kids, head over to Muskegon by yourself. Round trip, it's going to be $85. If you want to take the car round trip, that's an additional $118. High-speed ferry service begins on the Lake Express on June 1st. We're live at the Port of Milwaukee. Chris Goodman, Fox 6 News.
Lake Michigan may smell bad and be...
It's the fastest way to travel on the Great Lakes.
And it now calls Milwaukee home. The high-speed ferry Lake Express pulled into the Port of Milwaukee this afternoon. Climb on board, and the appointments you'll find are rather comfy. It includes a cushy seating for more than 200 people, a variety of soups, salads, sandwiches, and other things to nosh on board, and lots of room to walk around on the upper deck. The Lake Express promises to take you 80 miles across Lake Michigan to the city of Muskegon, Michigan. You'll zip across the water at about 40 miles an hour and complete the journey in about 2.5 hours. It's at least a 5-hour car ride. But you might ask yourself, should I really be in such a hurry to get to Muskegon, Michigan?
Is there anything to do there? Fox 6's Chris Goodman is live at the Port of Milwaukee where the Lake Express is docked tonight. Chris?
Yeah, and as you guys mentioned, Muskegon, it's only 80 miles from Milwaukee. Of course, there's a giant lake separating the two cities, but still that makes it closer than Green Bay, Madison, and Chicago, and yet there is not much we know about Muskegon, Michigan. Well, Fox 6 did a little digging today. We found that Muskegon, city and county, is a lot like Milwaukee in some ways. It has 27 miles of Lake Michigan waterfront that includes 10 massive sandy beaches, a dozen golf courses and county parks. It's also home to the SS Milwaukee Clipper, the sister to the other ferry on Lake Michigan, the SS Badger. Of course, the Clipper is no longer in operation. Also in Muskegon, you'll find the USS Silversides, a World War II era submarine. It is docked alongside the Great Lakes Naval Memorial and Museum. And you know, Muskegon also is home to an air fair, a tall ship festival, and several music festivals. But you know what I'm thinking with this big Lake Express now? Those folks in Muskegon are going to forget about some of their festivals and come over here to our big festival, Summerfest. We are live at the Port of Milwaukee. Chris Goodman, Fox 6 News.
Yeah, I'll put Summerfest up against Muskegon Fest any day of the week, I think.
It's still going to cost you about $85 round trip for an adult and another $118 for your vehicle. So
If it saves time, some people will think it's worth it. Well, there's Express ferry is expected to arrive in Milwaukee in just a short while. The high-speed ship will carry people and cars between Milwaukee and Muskegon, Michigan. As we mentioned at the beginning of our show, our Mike Anderson is on assignment. Well, he's the only local television reporter on board the ferry.
This is the new terminal being built at the Port of Milwaukee for the Lake Express ferry. The ferry doesn't start service until June 1st, but I'll give you an exclusive look at the ferry in action when it arrives in Milwaukee.
The Lake Express is a catamaran-style ferry built in Alabama. It left there 2 weeks ago, traveling along the Gulf and Atlantic coasts. It's coming to Milwaukee through Canada and the St. Lawrence Seaway. The ferry travels about 40 miles per hour. When it arrives, it will carry 250 passengers and 46 cars, 3 times a day between Milwaukee and Muskegon, Michigan. It's a trip that will take about 2.5 hours. While the terminal isn't finished yet, the Lake Express Company has already taken thousands of reservations for the ferry. Some 70 jobs have been created as well to support it.
It's estimated 100,000 visitors a year will pass through this terminal. The Lake Express will be the first high-speed ferry on the Great Lakes.
And we have Mike on the phone right now. Mike, you there?
Hi, Patrick. I'm here.
Good. The beauty of technology. You're actually on the water right now on the ferry, correct?
On the ferry, on the water. It's kind of like a boat on the water. What's it like?
Are you cruising at 40 miles an hour right now, you think?
Yeah, I was just kind of kidding you, really. It's we just kicked up to 40 miles an hour. It was a slow ride through the channel when we left about an hour ago, a little over an hour. And so the captain kicked it up a notch, and we're at 40. We're flying out here.
Now, you took off about how long ago? You left from Sturgeon Bay, correct?
Yeah, Sturgeon Bay about an hour ago. It's kind of like being on an airplane, really. The seats, the food, when they used to serve food on airplanes for free. And so it's kind of like that. You know, like if you can imagine yourself sitting on a plane, except you have a little bit more space. But the seats are kind of like being on a plane, and so is the hospitality. So far, we're having a good time. And they're really counting on this to be a big deal, Patrick, between Milwaukee and Muskegon, Michigan, both on our side and on their side, because they expect it's going to be a big revenue generator for both areas.
I wanted to ask you about the size of this boat. How big is it? Because it carries, what, some 40 cars, 250 passengers?
Exactly. It's 192 feet. And but the big thing here is made out of aluminum. You know, the old ferries were made out of wood or steel. So this being more aluminum, they can get up a little higher on the water, and that's where your speed comes in.
All right. Well, Mike, you guys be safe out there, and we'll see you when you get back.
Appreciate that. We'll see you this afternoon, Patrick.
Sounds good. And you can watch your Mike Anderson's exclusive reports on the Lake Express Ferry tonight on 12 News at 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. Well, how getting in touch with your childhood could whip you.
Milwaukee's new high-speed ferry just docked at the Port of Milwaukee.
12 News was the only TV station to ride along on its first trip. The ferry is finally here, and 12 News' Mike Anderson joins us live. Mike, now you rode from Sturgeon Bay to Milwaukee, but that's not the normal route of the ferry, is that correct?
That's not the one it's going to be taking. It's going to be taking people across the lake to Michigan. But yeah, I guess, Troy, you might say I just got off the boat, but not just any boat. This is the fastest boat on the Great Lakes now. It is the Lake Express ferry, and it'll start operating on June 1st, but actually it was built in Mobile, Alabama, a 13-day, 4,500-mile trip. And I happened to get on today in Sturgeon Bay for the last leg and coming to Milwaukee. We had great weather, and I'm telling you, it is one smooth ride. Take a look at this. It cuts through water like a knife cuts through butter, and maybe even a little quicker.
I feel like a kid in a candy store today.
David Lubar of Lubar & Company usually helps create businesses for other people. But 4 years ago, someone told him he should go into the ferry business for himself.
Fast ferries? What is that? I've never been on a fast ferry. I had never heard of a fast ferry.
Watch your camera. Well, the rest is history in the making. A $20 million, 192-foot catamaran. A 40-mile-an-hour piece of transportation that this area has never seen the likes of.
The designer and the builder of this boat did a fantastic job. This is the newest, safest, most technologically advanced ferry in the United States today. People who come and see the boat and walk aboard will be overwhelmed. They will be so impressed. I just can't wait.
Well, I have to tell you, this reporter and others aboard today was very impressed with the new Lake Express ferry. You can see right now, it may not look as big as it really is. So what I'm doing is give you a shot from Chopper 12 live. We're standing by right now. We are docked here at the Port of Milwaukee's heavy lift dock. This won't be the main terminal for the ferry. It is still under construction, so it's going to stay here for the meantime. But it's going to have 250 passengers crossing the lake maybe 3 times a day, 46 cars, 100,000 people possibly every year going back and forth between Milwaukee and Michigan. So they expect it to generate quite a bit of revenue, and it's going to be the buzz of the town perhaps this summer. At least that's what the owners are hoping for. Back to you, Toya. Tonight on 12 News at 6 o'clock, by the way, I'll take you a little bit more inside and show you a little bit more of the luxury on this, this new boat.
Well, if anyone can find luxury, it's you. Thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you, Toya.
All right, well, Hollywood has lost one of its most...
There's a whole new way to travel between Wisconsin and Michigan.
The new Lake Express high-speed ferry slipped into Milwaukee this afternoon. 12 News was the only TV station to ride along on its first trip. Mike Anderson joins us live now. Mike, what a great way to spend a day.
No kidding, Jerry. It started 10 years ago as just a thought. Well, it took a long time, but now it is live, it is real. The fastest boat on the Great Lakes, the Lake Express, is in Milwaukee. I'll show you an exclusive look at it in action on Lake Michigan today.
Then a Chicago newspaper columnist is...
You could call it our very young cruise liner on the lake. And it's nothing but first class when you take the Lake Express.
A new high-speed ferry just got back from its maiden voyage from Sturgeon Bay, and 12 News was the only local TV station to ride along for the trip. Mike Anderson joins us live from the Port of Milwaukee. And Mike, how was it?
It was very nice, Toya. Very fortunate, I feel, to have been one of the few and one of the first to take a ride on the new Lake Express ferry. Set to kick off on June 1st, going back and forth between Muskegon, Michigan, and the city of Milwaukee. I got to tell you, it was quite a ride, and we had great weather this afternoon. I'll share some of that with you now.
Yeah, take a little slack out of that. Coming up.
If you like speed but don't like to fly, the all-new Lake Express ferry might be your best bet. Its ride is like flying on water. One of the first things the captain does is check the weather. Well, that's the same thing the pilots do before they take off.
Before we departed on each 2.5-hour cruise or crossing, we would certainly, consult the latest weather charts.
Cruise is exactly what it was like on board today from Sturgeon Bay to Milwaukee. Most of the talk about this ferry has been about its speed, 40 miles an hour. It'll take it just 2.5 hours to cross the lake from Milwaukee to Muskegon, Michigan. But check out the luxury. It's like it's first class, the way first class used to be on airplanes.
Alterra Coffee will be providing the food service on board the ship. They're well known in the Milwaukee area, as you know, for a high quality operation, and we're very excited about having them on. The food service on the ship is going to be high-end deli, and I think people are going to be very excited and very happy with all of the amenities they find on board.
And at least today it was very high-end deli. We had pot roast, slow-roasted pot roast. It was delicious, I must tell you. My compliments to the chef and to the cruiser. It was a very nice ride. We had a good time. They have a business section. They have a section for passengers who are not doing business, just kind of hanging out, whatever you want to do. But it looks like it's so far getting off to a really good start. And it's going to be a great revenue generator for Milwaukee and the other side of the lake as well, Michigan. At least that's what everybody's hoping for. Back to you, Toya.
All right, Mike, you always have a way of making me hungry when you describe food. Thank you so much. Well, here's a look at ticket prices. If you want to go each way, you buy a round-trip ticket, of course. For adults, it's $42 to $50. Seniors get a $3 discount off of their entire round-trip ticket. For kids ages 5 to 15, it's $20. It's $59 per car, $30 for a motorcycle, and $7.50 to take your bike. Now, that would be an outing. Take your bike, get on the ferry, go across, bike
ride your bike,
come back.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that couldn't have been done yesterday.
It's beautiful on either side of the lake.
This
so
is
you
true.
can-
We like this side better. Come on, Mark.
Of course we do.
I know.
Of course we do. We can't say anything else because we'd be in trouble. But you know what? The weather, well, I guess it cooperated to
natural emergencies. Well, soon you and your car can skip across Lake Michigan.
In a hurry and in luxurious fashion. Our Mike Anderson was the only TV reporter on board when the new Lake Express ferry arrived at its new home in Milwaukee from Sturgeon Bay. As they say, anchors away.
Take a little slack out of that. Just hold it from it. Watch your camera.
Its owners call the Lake Express ferry everything you'd want in transportation. Speed, the fastest boat on the Great Lakes at 40 miles an hour.
This is the newest, safest, most technologically advanced ferry in the United States today.
And though its speed, 2.5 hours across the lake from Milwaukee to Muskegon, Michigan, may not be its most appealing draw, the ride is so smooth. Look at this picture of iced tea. Granted, we're having great weather on this trip, but we're at full speed and nothing shakes, not even a quiver.
The ferry is meant to change the picture of transportation in southeastern Wisconsin, really, to avoid having to go in, around, or through Chicago.
It's going to open up areas of new adventure for people, whether they're coming from Michigan to Wisconsin or from Wisconsin to Michigan.
On board is a business section, which includes a table for your laptop or paperwork, and electrical outlets if you need them. In the leisure section, the comfort is just as good, with first-class service at the deli.
The food service on the ship is going to be high-end deli, and I think people are going to be very excited and very happy with all of the amenities they find on board.
As for safety, the Coast Guard says the boat has been checked and rechecked and every precaution considered.
If a person falls over the side, you can see on the vessel there's a rescue boat. They're able to cruise, able to launch that rescue boat and get that person out of the water and get them back on board this boat within the course of 5 minutes.
For the folks who conceived the idea of the Lake Express, it has been a dream. But the people who welcomed it to Milwaukee with a big reception are not dreaming. They know this boat is for real, and they can't wait to climb aboard. Mike Anderson, Milwaukee, 12 News at 10.
There are various ticket prices. Round trips for adults are $85. Add the car, and it's another $118 round trip.
One step closer to having an alternative transport to Michigan. Today, the Lake Express ferry docked on Milwaukee's lakefront. Service to Muskegon is set to begin on June 1st. Round-trip adult fare is $42 to $50 a person. To send your car across, it'll cost you $59 each way. The ferry trip takes 2.5 hours. Let's check in again with Brian in the Weather Center.
And if we keep
It promises to put Milwaukee on the map and hopes to bring an estimated $25 to $30 million of economic development into the area. WB18's Heather Shannon has more on the Lake Express high-speed ferry.
The Lake Express ferry makes its maiden voyage today, docking for the first time at the Port of Milwaukee.
It was just a wonderful ride. It was smooth as silk, luxurious, quiet. It exceeded all of my expectations.
The 191-foot boat holds 250 passengers and up to 46 cars. It promises to make the trip to Muskegon, Michigan in just 2.5 hours. So it has the speed, but is it safe?
It's been designed to U.S. Coast Guard standards, and in fact, additional safety measures have been designed into this vessel.
Those who run the Lake Express ferry say it's the most advanced vessel of its kind in the entire nation. And because it's going to be carrying so many people in a large open body of water, security is a priority.
There'll be a standard metal detector approach inside the terminal, as well as checking of vehicles at the same level as at the airport.
Even Harbor Patrol and the Coast Guard plan to step up security.
We're just increasing the frequency of patrol in certain areas. It's the problems that we're not aware of or we're not used to that we're trying to identify with the Harbor Commission and the Coast Guard.
Trouble with the unknown is enough to keep the boat crew, police, and the Coast Guard on their toes. They'll spend the next 2 weeks in security training. The Lake Express will open to the public on June 1st. Heather Shannon, WB18 News at 9.
Round-trip tickets for adults are $85. Cars cost $59. The Lake Express will depart Milwaukee 3 times a day. A local police chief is called